guys. I'm sitting in the parking lot outside a surgery center because Dave is having surgery on his hand today. He's got trigger finger, and I'm just wrapping up one of my hairs. These white hairs of mine, I tell you what, I wish they were worth money. As many of them that fall out of my head, they end up on the furniture, on the carpet. Oy, so many hairs. Anyway, he's in there getting his trigger finger released, and we're hoping for a successful surgery. I'm sitting in our Silverado. It's a 2000. It has four-wheel drive. It has a decent back seat for the grandchildren and the dog. Not at the same time. The dog is too big. Maybe if we had one grandchild back there, the dog could be back there at the same time. It's a 2000, and we just bought it a couple of months ago, so it's new to us. It is an old truck, but I like it. It smelled like cigarettes when we bought it, which was kind of a bummer. I mean, like really strong like cigarettes. And a branch had come down on it and put a little dent in the cab at the back, and then on the rail of the bed, there's a dent back there as well. We need a truck with four-wheel drive at the ranch for winter time when it's snowing, because we don't have power up there, and we have to bring up hot water for the animals when it's really, really cold. Twice a day we have to bring them hot water so they can get a drink. And it's really not easy to do in my little red Scion. It's impossible. So we've had the Ford Explorer for the last few years. It is also an old car. Maybe not quite as old as this truck, but Dave wanted to get rid of it. So we still have it. It's for sale, but he wanted a four-wheel drive. We need a four-wheel drive, and he was tired of the Explorer. I think he wanted a truck. I think he wanted to be able to haul things. We have a white Ford F550 flatbed with a, I'm going to say 12-foot flatbed. I think that's what it is. So we do have a truck, but that's a monster truck. That is actually considered a commercial vehicle, not four-wheel drive. And we had that, we bought that in 2021 or 2022 because it couldn't be registered in California anymore. So this truck was in great shape, this flatbed, and we got a call from Dave's cousin who works for someone who sells used cars, used vehicles. And he said it was coming up, and I think it was only $6,000, and it's a really good truck, really good truck. So he ended up buying it, and then he flew out to California to get it, and he loaded up all my mom's stuff on it because she was still living in California. Actually, she had moved out to Tennessee, but most of her stuff was still in California. He loaded it up with her stuff and hauled it out. So he brought the truck and my mom's stuff at the same time, which was really handy. He did have a little bit of trouble at one of the truck inspection places because on the highways, you know, they have this special lane where commercial vehicles are supposed to go. And if you don't go in that lane and go through the, I don't know, inspection station, they will pull you over, and, you know, highway patrol in that state will give you a hard time. So he got chased down by highway patrol because he bypassed it because he wasn't driving commercially. He went in, and he was kind of in trouble. They wanted to see his paperwork for his payload, right? He says, it's just my mother-in-law's stuff. It's just bins. I mean, it was just all those black bins with the yellow lids that you get at Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever. And I think there were a couple pieces of furniture, but mostly it was just that stuff. So they couldn't figure it out. They were still like, well, but you should have paperwork. He's like, it's a private vehicle. It's not a commercial vehicle. I'm not a commercially licensed driver. It's just my mother-in-law's stuff. That's my private truck. I'm just hauling my mother-in-law's stuff out to Tennessee. So then I guess the Keystone cops figured it out and let him go on his way. We should put one of those stickers on it that says not for hire, I think, or not for commercial use, something like that. Maybe they would relax a little bit. So we do have that truck. Now we have this truck. It's a black Silverado. It's fairly comfortable. It's really comfortable on my back, and my back can be pretty persnickety. it doesn't like airplane seats. By the time I finish flying somewhere, my back hurts so bad. Airplane seats kind of fold me like this instead of like this. They turn my back, so I'm kind of hunched forward. And there's a disc in the upper part of my back that doesn't like that. And some vehicles are the same way. In fact, our old Dodge Ram had seats that were like that with me. The headrest, I had to turn it around backwards to sit in that truck comfortably. And I don't remember if the Ford Explorer is the same way, but this truck is great. I can put my head back on the headrest. Love it. I highly recommend buying old vehicles, but you have to have the money to put into them. This one just had to have some work done. A seal had gone bad on it, so we had to put some money into it. But even putting money into it every month, which we don't do, we would still save money if we, over the long run, we're still going to save a ton of money. I don't know how much a new or barely used Silverado costs right now, but I'm guessing they're a lot more than just a few $1,000s, and a lot more than just a few $100s every couple of months is my guess. So he's in there getting his trigger finger released. I'm out here. It's raining. You can't see that. Pardon me while I cough. I was just thinking about my grandpa, my dad's dad. He was more of a grandpa than my mom's dad. My mom's dad was a difficult person for pretty much everyone around him. He had great friends who loved him a lot, and that's cool. They were drinking buddies. That's cool. But my dad's dad, he was more of a hands-on grandpa. I remember as a little girl going fishing with my dad and my grandpa and my brother, and we would go to the university campus. They had ponds on the campus, and we would go fishing and catch, generally bluegill is what we caught. I can't remember where we went fishing that we caught the trout, because we also used to catch trout. When we got home, we cleaned the fish, and I would imagine we descaled them. I don't remember that part of it. I probably wasn't part of the removing the scales because I was awfully young, but I do remember having to, slice them and pull the stuff out and all that. And then we cooked them, heads on, fins on, all that in butter. Very good. And then when we did the trout, we would collect the eggs in the trout, the roe. And then Grandpa would scramble that up the next morning, and we would have scrambled eggs with trout eggs in them. And I don't remember hating it. I don't remember anything about it except that we ate it. I don't remember complaining or anything. As an adolescent and a teenager, I used to go to that university campus with my sketchbook and my charcoal pencils, and I sketched the animals and wildlife and the plants, all kinds of stuff. I just had a really good time. I had a friend, and she and I would go over there. A lot of times we'd walk over barefoot, and a couple times we ended up in the middle of a goat head sticker patch with bare feet. Wow, that was tough. You would think we would have learned the first time that happened. No. 11, 12, 13 years old? Nah. No. We still walked all over town barefoot and on campus. Now, we did learn where the goat head patch was. It was on the railroad tracks. So as bad as this sounds, we learned that at a certain point we needed to start walking on the railroad tracks, not on the gravel around the railroad tracks. That was a shortcut to the campus, was on the railroad tracks. And I don't recommend that for anybody, but that's what we did. And we survived. Now, as an adult, I went back to campus. I went to school there. I was in classes on campus, and I started going to the places where I had gone fishing with my dad and my grandpa. This is creepy, you guys. The ponds were the drainage for the horse and the cow units. So when there was a lot of rain, it washed all that E. coli into these ponds, and the fish that were in there were basically filters, I guess. They stocked them, obviously, and we caught those fish, took them home and ate them. Yeah, they were in the poo ponds. Yeah, figured that out as an adult. That's pretty crazy. But then I also went creek fishing with my dad, and that I know for sure we got trout in the creeks around town. and I went ocean fishing with my dad. He got his license to skipper, I don't know, a dive boat. So he would take out a bunch of scuba divers, and I would go along and I would fish. I always fished off the opposite side of the boat that the divers were going into the water and coming out of the water. That was really important. I never did catch a diver, so that was good. I would fish for sea bass and I don't know what all else I caught. I didn't lingcod or cabezon fish. I was just fishing for whatever was swimming by. My dad was on the ocean floor as a scuba diver, and he was spearfishing lingcod, cabezon, I don't know what all else. There. Oh God, what are the ones with the eyeballs on one side of their head? He was also getting those. They start out life as a normal looking fish, and then as they get older, their eyeballs migrate, and then they become flat bellied, and they lie on the bottom of the ocean, and they get covered in sand, and their two little eyeballs are right up here on the side of their head. Can't remember what those are called. But Dad was down there spearfishing, and he also, in the day, you could also get abalone. They were big enough you could get abalone, so he would come up with abalone. He would also go to some islands off the coast of California, and in season he would get lobster. So I grew up eating a lot of fresh seafood. I definitely grew up to the point where I don't like to eat seafood in restaurants because it's not the same. So I was thinking about that this morning, going fishing with my grandpa and my dad. My brother didn't do a lot of fishing with us after childhood. He had other things he was doing, but I continued to go fishing with my dad into my teenage years, and that all pretty much stopped when I was, 20, I guess. I don't know, maybe 21, because life happened. I got a real job. And then I got married, and then I started having children, and I'm sure I went fishing after that with my dad, with the family, but I don't remember doing a lot of that. Thank you for joining me. I just turned 63 yesterday. Yay for my old team. Nothing was different. I didn't really do anything, although my father-in-law lives at a home, and they had their Thanksgiving dinner yesterday, so I took something that I had made that I could eat there. And I ate that, and they had a delicious looking Thanksgiving dinner with all of the fixings. They had, they had cranberry salad that had mandarin oranges in it, looked very good. Mashed potatoes, and they had green beans, some kind of a squash with onions, turkey. They probably had ham, corn. It looked really good. And then I'm sure they had dessert after. I had to leave because I had to go to the ranch and take care of the animals before it got too dark. So I left a little early. Dave is still staying at the ranch in the motorhome, and he's waiting for the bear to come back. Kind of have a feeling he may have mortally wounded the bear a few days ago, but we also know it could come back. And although the goats are in a more secure building, it is not bear proof. It's bear resistant. It's not bear proof. So if nobody's there at the ranch at night, the bear would have all the time it needs to bust into that. So Dave might be going to Pennsylvania on Sunday. If he goes to Pennsylvania on Sunday, I'll be staying Sunday night and possibly Monday night in the motorhome at the ranch, just to be there in case the bear comes back, and I'll take care of it. If it doesn't come back, I don't know what our life is going to look like. We're obviously looking for vultures circling because a 500-pound bear is going to attract a lot of vultures. It will definitely be quite a feast for them. So we're keeping our eyes on the sky, and if the vultures start circling somewhere near the ranch, maybe we'll get to meet some of our neighbors and say, hey, can we hike out to where the vultures are and see if it's the bear? Because once we know that bear is gone, we can relax. There are no other big male bears on the property. We know that for sure. We do have a female, and we have a baby or more than one baby, but we don't have any other big males, at least none that have shown up on any game cameras. So that's what's going on there. Thanks for joining my little slice of life on November 21st. Hit the subscribe if you want to hear about ranch things. I do a little bit of cooking, gardening, seed starting, lots of propagation stuff. I don't always record it, but I do a lot of propagation. I'll try to record more in the future. In drag racing season, I'll be at drag races, mostly motorcycle, but some of it is cars and trucks. So if you like that kind of stuff, subscribe, give me a like, share my videos if you feel like it, and leave a comment, ask a question, tell me about your fishing experiences. I want to know stuff. I love having conversations. And since I'm home alone most of the time and the dogs don't talk back, I like talking to you guys. Have a blessed day.